Hey, Goulash here, and welcome to another entry of...
The Gulags. Goosebumps Goosedays.
Now, I have my own spin-off channel for videos called The Gulag, so you're probably wondering why this video is on Dr. Wolfula's channel. Well, for the time being, these small Goosebumps videos will be staying on Doc's channel in order to promote the Gulag channel. So if you enjoy this video, consider subscribing to the Gulag channel for more. For this entry of Goosebumps Goosedays, I'll be covering Phantom of the Auditorium, the 24th book in the series released in 1994, and its TV series adaptation released in 1995 as Season 1's 7th episode.
I have lived under this theater for more than 70 years. I was to play the Phantom on this very stage.
If the title and cover of the book don't make it obvious enough, it's a riff on the Phantom of the Opera, the classic novel from 1910, but more specifically the Andrew Lloyd Webber musical adaptation. The TV episode follows the book story fairly closely, with the expected plot condensing that comes with making a 160-page book into a 20-minute TV episode. But there is one major change from the book in the TV episode that I'll get into later.
You should have listened to me.
A school in the town of Woods Mill is putting together a play called The Phantom. Not the Phantom of the Opera. They don't want to risk getting sued by Andrew Lloyd Webber. The play itself seems to be an amalgamation of Phantom of the Opera and Hunchback of Notre Dame, though, because the main character in the play is named Esmeralda, the role filled in by Brooke, the main character of this episode.
Tina's your understudy. She might poison you so she can play the lead.
She'd never do that. Throw me down a flight of stairs? Maybe.
Brooke's understudy Tina insists that the play itself is cursed, though her insistence of this is likely due to her jealousy of Brooke landing the lead role.
Haven't you heard? This play is cursed. Did you cast a spell on it?
Tina's reasoning for believing the play is cursed, though, is because, according to Tina's grandfather, 70 years ago, the school, in its first year of operation, put on the Phantom play, but on the night of the performance, the boy who played the Phantom disappeared mysteriously beneath the stage, never found again.
They called the police, but they never found the body.
You know, that's terrible, but it's not the worst death that's ever happened at an American public school. Supposedly, though, the boy returned a year later as a real phantom haunting the school's auditorium.
His ghost appeared on stage.
This is the perfect opportunity for one of R.L. Stine's trademark chapter cliffhangers as the Phantom grabs Brooke, only to be revealed to be her friend Zeke, playing the Phantom in this year's production.
The only haunting we need to be concerned about right now is the one that's in this play. Let's go through the show.
After the rehearsal of the play, though, Zeke decides he wants to check out an old trapdoor in the auditorium that Brooke herself had dreamed of the previous night.
Listen, Zeke, this trapdoor, I dreamt about it last night. I've never seen it before.
And because these kids are white, they proceed to explore the creepy, dark basement of their school where they would most likely meet their early deaths. Not quite, though, but they do encounter the school's friendly night janitor named Emile.
Who are you?
Emile, who looks like a malnourished Emilio Estevez.
Stay away!
Yes.
The next day's rehearsal, Brooke meets a new student by the name of Brian, who just moved to Woods Mill, who's also hoping to land a part in the play that is already in the rehearsal process.
At my old school, I was in all the plays. Just wish I could have tried out for this one.
A day late and $1 short, Brian. After Brooke and Zeke's basement exploration, though, Brooke seems to be the target of a real-life phantom. But she's at first convinced it's just her jackass best friend Zeke dicking around.
So does this mean you like my costume?
Until Brooke has a run-in during rehearsals with who is clearly an adult man dressed as the Phantom.
Go away, Esmeralda.
Everybody else is convinced that Zeke is behind it because he's a jackass after all.
Trying to scare everybody. Well, I'm sick of it.
No way, I wasn't even here. I had a dentist appointment.
And they find red paint for leaving threatening messages in Zeke's locker.
I'm calling your parents, Zeke. You're out of the play.
But even though Zeke was verifiably at the dentist while all of this happened, he's still removed from the play, so it's up to Brooke, Zeke, and their new pal, the totally not suspicious Brian, to solve the mystery of the Phantom of the Auditorium. Phantom of the Auditorium isn't one of the best Goosebumps stories. It doesn't have a memorable villain like many of its peers. The central antagonist is literally just the Phantom of the Opera wearing bright purple, and the episode's version is even less distinct from his inspiration. Still, what makes the story work, though, is that it's basically a Scooby-Doo mystery, where there seems to be a ghost haunting a school, and a gang of kids have to solve the mystery, and, like a good Scooby mystery, there are a few suspects behind the Phantom. Emile the night janitor, of course, Tina, who could be trying trying to scare Brooke away from the coveted role of Esmeralda. Miss Walker could be trying to drum up hype for her school production with a haunting, or maybe it's Brian, the new kid that suddenly showed up during all of this. It's probably Brian.
Aren't you glad you moved here?
I'm just happy to be part of the production.
This is also a refreshing Goosebumps story because for most of the plot, it doesn't indulge in the franchise's more outlandish concepts or campier portrayals of horror. It's a spooky Nancy Drew story, played pretty straight, with nothing really particularly goofy about it, instead focusing on the spooky atmosphere. Simultaneously, because it doesn't have any of Goosebumps' trademark goofiness or wild ideas, Phantom of the Auditorium ends up being one of those Goosebumps stories that's easy to forget, offering nothing particularly unique while still being a solid kids' horror story.
Look, up there, on the catwalk!
Ultimately, what cinches the mystery for Brooke, Zeke, and Brian is that the school's day janitor reveals that there is no night janitor.
Night janitor? There's no night janitor.
In the book, it was the school's receptionist revealing this info, but that's not the only difference from the book and the episode. Later that night, the gang explores further into the school's basement, discovering a meth lab. But before the kids could get a taste, the Phantom shows up and scares them off, managing to grab Brooke. But before he gets the chance to curb stomp her, Brooke removes the Phantom's extremely shitty mask, revealing the Phantom to be Emil, who was a homeless man living in the basement, scaring anybody off who was onto him.
And the officer thinks that he was a homeless man who was living underneath the stage.
That's why he gave us those warnings.
This is the major difference between the episode and the book. In the book, Emil revealed that he merely left threatening messages to Brooke and framed Zeke. But Emil had absolutely no knowledge of the Phantom legend and never dressed as the Phantom either, which casts some immediate doubt about the case being solved. With the episode, it's clear they wanted to go more with the Scooby-Doo route initially,
We found a hat and this old mask down there.
leading the audience to believe that this was an open and shut case, so an additional twist wouldn't be suspected.
The Phantom lives.
What is the twist? It's the same in both the show and book. The performance of the Phantom ensues with Zeke back in the role, but he's taken out and the real Phantom takes Zeke's place, a Phantom with goofy 90s computer composited fire eyes, who explains that 70 years ago he fell to his death, supposedly into hell, which led to him becoming a Phantom.
I fell into the abyss.
Now the Phantom seeks to reclaim the role taken from him and aims to bring Brooke with him back to hell.
No! No!
That's how he's beaten? Lame. In the end, Brooke discovers an old yearbook from 1923, revealing that the new kid, Brian, was in fact the real Phantom who disappeared 70 years ago. Whoa, Brian was the real Phantom? Holy shit! Man, Brian looked like such a dork 70 years ago. It's a good thing he fucking died, removed him from the gene pool.
It's the boy who disappeared.
Oh man, I don't believe it.
The Phantom of the Auditorium is a solid Goosebumps story for its style, atmosphere, and mystery, but it just doesn't have the extra pizzazz needed to make it a classic Goosebumps story that sticks with me. I give Phantom of the Auditorium 3 drops of monster blood out of 5. Man, I've been giving all these stories 3 drops of monster blood, though. Girl Who Cried Monster and Welcome to Camp Nightmare should have at least gotten 4 drops instead of 3. I don't know what I was fucking thinking. If you want to watch Goosebumps reviews, where the rating is always 3 out of 5, though, these videos have got you covered. You fucking weirdo.
I don't know where those lines came from, mister, but they were brilliant. Oh, curtain call. Come on, everybody, curtain call.
If you liked this video, like it, and if you loved it, click the subscribe and bell buttons for more vids. I'd also like to thank these fine folks pledged my shout-out tier on Patreon for all their kind support. Videos like this wouldn't be possible without all their help. Thank you for watching, see you next time. Dr. Wolfula signing out.